Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Laili Azizah, and you can call me Laili or Lily. And I'm from Chemistry Class A, Faculty of Science and Technology. And right now, I will explain my summary chemistry environment about water and water installation. So here we go. Okay, so the first, why water is important. Okay, directly or indirectly, water affects all facets of life. Without it, there will be no vegetation on land, no oxygen for animals to breathe, and the planet would look entirely different than it does today. Water is necessary to keep people's body and the environment healthy and should be valued and protected as the precious resource it is. So, try to imagine Earth without water, with no water in it and nothing grow on it. Would be lifeless, dead, collapsed into dust, sand, clay, or rock. The earth used to be like a sponge, but where the groundwater has been sucked almost dry, like the Central Valley, the earth has collapsed and hardened. This is the process we call subsidence. Okay, so this is the earth look like without water in it. Without water, the air and earth would vacillate between extreme hot and extreme cold every day, everywhere, with a gradual increase in temperature as time goes on. Part of the problem with global warming could be that we are using up too much land water and throwing rain away into the sea. So the conclusion is water important for all. Okay, so the next, water is unity. Did you know what the means of water is unity? So, water is unity means the water we use is the same and repeatedly in the water cycle. So, as a human, we must save our water in the earth. And why we have to save our water in the earth? Because water is important not just for us, but for our next generation too. We cannot use the water when the circumstance water is polluted by waste. Hence, we have to save our water from now on. Okay, so the next slide is going to talk about wastewater. Industrial wastewater is not just by a product of oil and gas and chemical manufacturing companies, but also a byproduct of food and beverage processing industry, essential in the making of the clothes on your back, the shoes on your feet, the computer at your fingertips, and the car you drive. To comply with exciting laws, any organic and inorganic pollutants to water used in industrial production must be managed. Organic matters, metals, and the like found in the wastewater must be removed before the water can be safely discharged back to land in the bodies of water or reused in plant operation. Wastewater have an effect for our life. If that situation keeps happening over and over again, in an environment will be so hard to find clean and fresh water. Okay, so but don't worry, wastewater can be solved with several ways. The following are examples of several ways to solve wastewater for an environment. So the first way, wastewater installation before discharge back to land. Okay, second way is add microbe to the wastewater. So next slide is about wastewater installation. Okay, so wastewater installation treatment. Usually, to begin the discussion on industrial wastewater, it may be useful to compare industrial wastewater with domestic sewage, since designers of wastewater treatment facilities often begin their careers and almost certainly their education in environmental engineering by looking at sewage and sewage treatment. The latter can then provide a familiar framework which the reader can use to compare industrial wastewater and its treatment. So, there was a system named wastewater installation system, or in Bahasa we know as IPAL, instalasi pengolahan air limbah. So here we go, the process of IPAL. First, inlet, water entering from industrial process. And second is filtration, the process of filtering the macroparticle so not to obstruct for the next process. Okay, so the third process is equalization. Equalization, namely the process of holding all the water in the equalization tank. Another name of equalization is uniformity. Okay, so next is uniformity. Uniformity, the composition of the wastewater to be the equal or balanced. In this process, the wastewater heated into the high temperature. After that is cooling. Cooling process is when wastewater that has been heated needs to cooling down. Hence, the wastewater is accommodated in a cooling tank. Okay, so the next step is biological aeration. In this process, microbes are added to wastewater are the composer. Aeration process which contact the waste with oxygen, therefore wastewater has degraded. The inorganic compounds dissolved in wastewater will be suspended when microbes were added, so they can be classified. Okay, so the next process is classifier. Process in classifier is water was classified in this process. It can be separated between liquids and solids. Sludge from the classifier process was brought back to the aeration process after maintenance because the sludge contained microbial seeds. The next step is deposition. Okay, so in deposition step, water was deposited. After that, the process is sand filter. After the deposition process, the water goes to the sand filter process, where the water quality is much better. Okay, so the next process is ligand and control. In the ligand and control process, there is a large pond. Usually, there was a tilapia fish found as an indicator of water quality. If the tilapia fish is still alive, then the water quality is good. Otherwise, if the tilapia fish dies, then the water quality is still bad. And after that, the process is water method. So, in this process, water analyzes the character of wastewater is feasible to be disposed or not. So, outlet is the last process after all. Outlet, the wastewater was already thrown away or discharged back to the land. Okay, so maybe that's all process of wastewater installation. Maybe that's enough for me. Thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry if there was a mispronounce from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See ya.